outside. He got it. Touchdown.
All right, welcome back to Drew Pearson Live. Joining me now is Brian Cuban and Don Hooton, and they are here to talk about the Hooton Foundation. And appreciate you guys taking the time to be with us. This is Brian, and that's Don. Don, tell us about the Taylor Hooton Foundation. You're Vice President in charge of education for the foundation.
Yeah, thank you for having us. I lost my younger brother, Taylor, about 11 years ago after he made the uneducated decision in high school to begin using anabolic steroids, just like over 1 million kids in this country admit to doing.
Yeah.
And as a result of his death, we now have educated over 1 million people with our program about the dangers of what we call appearance and performance-enhancing drugs.
Nice, nice. And Brian, you're speaking at their event coming up shortly.
That's right. As part of my journey that I talk about in Shattered Image through eating disorders, drug addiction, and steroid abuse,
yes.
I was one of those kids. I was one of those kids who abused steroids for no other reason than to feel better about myself, to look better, and to be accepted. I wasn't trying for the pro athlete contract. I wasn't an athlete. I was just your normal everyday kid wanting to fit in.
Yeah, and you, why would you want to come out, talk about your drug addiction, your alcohol addiction, eating disorders, bullying, and all the things that you had to deal with, issues in your life? And now you're passing this on, information, and trying to bring awareness to all these different issues.
That's a great question. I want to come out because people need to know that it can happen to anyone. You know, I'm a guy that had an eating disorder. That happens. 30% of all those with eating disorders are, in fact, men. I abuse steroids for no other reason than to look good. That happens. Kids are doing that. And in the summer of 2000, they laid me on an operating table, and I didn't know when I woke up whether I'd have my left leg because of steroid abuse.
Wow. So it had you down that low. And then what made you realize this ain't for me? I got to pull myself up out of this.
Well, after a
shattered image, now you got to resurrect that image.
That's right. And it was after a near suicide attempt and 2 trips to a psychiatric facility that I finally decided that, one, I probably wasn't going to have a 3rd trip to that psychiatric facility because I'd be dead. And 2, I was getting close to losing my family.
Wow.
Because family may love you unconditionally, but whether it's steroid addiction, drug addiction, eating disorders, if you're not willing to take that first little step into recovery and show them, eventually they may distance, even though they love you, because you can only enable so long.
Right, right. And Don, tell us a little bit more about the mission of the Taylor Hooton Foundation, what you're trying to accomplish through this in the name of your brother.
Our mission is to educate kids on the dangers of appearance and performance-enhancing drugs, whether that be anabolic steroids, human growth hormone, which recent studies show the usage in high school in the past 12 months has doubled. The dangers and risks with unregulated dietary supplements and energy drinks. So we now deliver programs in middle schools, high schools, and colleges here in the U.S., Canada, and thanks to our sponsor, Major League Baseball, educating a lot of kids down in Latin America.
Where do the kids mostly get these types of drugs, anabolic steroids? They don't get them over the counter, I'm sure, do they?
I got mine on the black market.
Yeah.
I had a regular delivery in a brown package from a guy who'd hand them to me under the table.
Yeah, and a lot of these kids know the repercussions of this, but they still want, like you said, Brian, want to look good appearance-wise and increase their athletic ability. Everybody's pushing to try to get a scholarship into a major college and things like that.
Drew, 85% of kids admit that they've never had a parent, teacher, or coach talk with them about the dangers of these drugs. So many of them have no idea how dangerous they could possibly be, and they just think, hey, I mean, I'm going to look better, I'm going to feel better, and it's one of those vanity type drugs.
Yeah.
That's right, Drew. And when you get into true addiction, addiction to steroids, remember, people get addicted to drugs and alcohol, and you know the dangers, right?
Yes, yes.
But you're addicted.
Yeah.
It's a brain addiction, so that doesn't matter.
Yeah. Well, Don, tell us a little bit more, and Brian, you can chip in as well, about the upcoming event that you have and what you're trying to accomplish with this event.
Yeah, we're very excited. It's our inaugural gala. It's going to be held here in Addison at the Kavanaugh Flight Museum. And I was so glad to be introduced to Brian through a mutual friend, and, you know, having him share his story as somebody who's lived through it, that's still here on Earth to tell us about that, and, have him share that with our guests. But we're looking to raise funds to be able to go out and deliver more more education programs.
Okay, well, again, when is the event?
The event is going to be Saturday, March 28th.
Right. And where will that be?
At the Kavanaugh Flight Museum.
Okay, nice place, too.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool.
Place. And Brian, you're Mark Cuban's brother, but, he's been famous in his own arena, but you're making a name for yourself in this arena. And the way you're doing things, you're a true Hail Mary hero. Did you know you would ever be a Hail Mary hero?
I did.
By doing all this? Do you look at yourself as a hero for what you do?
I look at myself as someone who can hopefully save a life or empower someone else to save a life.
Yeah.
That is my mission.
Amen. And that's a good mission to have, man, because, to talk the talk, you have to walk the walk. And that's what gets people to listen. And you have a real story to tell, and that's why they do listen.
Thank you. And I hope my view is I had to have gone through all that for a reason.
Yeah. If you go on your website, you got some very interesting articles there about law and order, politics, and a lot of interesting stuff there. So it's a good read to go on your website.
Thank you so much.
And I appreciate you guys being with us and being true Hail Mary heroes.
Thank you for having us on.
Thanks for taking the time.
Absolutely.
All right. You can get more information about the Taylor Hooton Foundation at taylorhooton.org and pick up a copy of Brian's book, Shattered Image, online or at a bookstore near you. Up next, Dallas Movie Minute. Our entertainment expert, Paul Salpin, sits down with the cast from the new sci-fi thriller, Insurgent. So hang around.